guys, happy Friday. I am back for another weekend review, and I'm going to check because I don't even remember what the dates are. September 30th through October 4th. It has been our last full week before fall break. We do get a week for fall break, but before you get too jealous, our summer is a little bit shorter than most people's. But it is really nice to have a full week of fall break, and then we have a few full weeks, and then we have a little break for Thanksgiving, so it's nice to just kind of break things up a little bit. But this week was jam-packed, super busy, lots of stuff going on. I started Monday with some IEP individual counseling. We're focusing on some frustration tolerance and impulse control. Always fun topics to work on. And then also on Monday we started something really exciting. I am working with my school's speech language pathologist to do a kindness club. In the past our school has had one, but it's been an after school club, so we wanted to do one during the day so it was accessible to more students, and we hosted it during our first recess, which is about 20 minutes. So it's not a super long time, but we had a really good turnout. Our SLP brought some rocks, and the students painted them and wrote kind words on them, and then we hid them around the school for students to find. So we told them, when you find one, read it, enjoy it, soak in the kind message, and then put it back or hide it somewhere else. And then at the end of the month, we have a carnival at our school. It's a big fundraising event, super fun for all the families. We told them that if they find a rock then, they can take it with them and either keep it or hide it in the community to spread some school kindness out in the community too. So that was a really fun event. Then I spent some time in kindergarten, just some support for an individual student who needed some. I also had, what is that? I'm trying to read my own handwriting. I don't even know. I'm looking at my planner. It's kindergarten social skills group. So I've mentioned this before, but we have 2 kindergarten classes, and I'm doing one group for each class, and I have about 3 students in the group. So I had that. I also spent some time with an individual student. I don't see the student for IEP counseling, but I just had a referral from the educational aide in 6th grade, just to talk about some stress management, lots of stuff going on. And I finished the rest of my day with some kindergarten support, just bringing it all back. Tuesday, I was back in kindergarten, more support, a student going through some transition, so understandable. And then I had peer review for one of my students that I see for IEP counseling. And then I started something super exciting. So one of our 3rd grade classes only has 9 girls in the class, and there's 16 boys, so they're very outnumbered. And a parent and then the teacher had brought to my attention that there was a little bit of drama going on with the girls, so I invited them to lunch, and we're calling it Girls Pop Group. So POP is Power of Positivity. So we're going to be talking about positive girl interactions, positive self-talk, because a lot of what's going on we suspect is coming from like low self-esteem from a student, and that's kind of causing some drama to spread to others. You guys know all about that. So that was really fun to hang out with all of them. I knew some of them pretty well already, but I didn't know all of them. So that was just our first session. So after our fall break, we'll really get into the meat of the group. And then I wrapped up the day. I had a super long SST meeting for another student who's not on my caseload, but might be eventually. Wednesday is our short day, so we get out of school an hour earlier. So we start school at 7:55, and normally we get out at 2:10, but on Wednesday we get out at 1:10, I think. So it's just an hour earlier. It's so that we can have PD and faculty meetings. Started out kindergarten support. Wednesday I have recess duty, and then I had an individual for IEP counseling focusing on some positive self-talk. Then I had another kindergarten social skills group. We didn't actually, so our last session that we had, we didn't finish the activity because we only had 15 minutes, which is not enough time. So we actually finished it, and we were playing that folder game that I've showed you guys before. So it's the one where they're working their way up through the ocean, and the purpose of the activity is to reinforce rule following. So the students actually set the rules for the game, and then they agree to them and all follow. We talk about how games are really fun if everybody follows the rules. Playing fair makes it fun for everybody, that kind of stuff. Let's see, then I'm reading my notes, and I really don't even know what this one means. I think I met with an individual at the end of the day. Truthfully though, it's all blur. I don't know. And we had a faculty meeting. It was a little bit different than normal, so we weren't actually talking about student services, but we had 2 faculty members present on Hawaiian culture. So you may have heard that there is a lot of protesting going on at Mauna Kea on the Big Island. People are protesting the expansion of a telescope, and that area is sacred land for Native Hawaiians. So that's why there's been some controversy around it. So we were talking about the statehood of Hawaii and how that came to be and whether it was done in the appropriate way. So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I learned that I had never heard before. So it was interesting. It was just an interesting conversation. And it all came about because our principal is part of a PLC on Twitter. And somebody asked if we were talking about Mauna Kea in our classroom. So he wanted those teachers to have an opportunity to just open up the conversation so that we can all learn, so that we have the information when students do ask those kinds of questions. Thursday I had a lot of open time because I had a lesson scheduled that ended up getting canceled because there was a field trip that somebody forgot about. Something strange like that. But anyway, I had an IEP meeting. I'm not providing IEP counseling for that student yet, but I have been consulting a little bit and I may end up being added as a service. But it was actually a really long meeting. It was like 2 hours and I ended up having to leave a little bit early because I started a 6th grade girls group that we're calling WOW. So you'll see I like to do acronyms. So 3rd grade was POP, Power of Positivity. 6th grade is WOW, Women of Worth. So we are talking all about self-esteem, self-confidence, goals, how we see ourselves, the roles that we want everyone to, or the roles that we want for ourselves, and how we can manifest that. So all these roles will be transitioning to intermediate school next year. So I really want to boost that focus on knowing who you are before other people's influences start coming in. It was really great. The girls were able to share some of the fears that they have about going to intermediate school, and we talked a lot about that. And I have an awesome benefit of having some insight on that because I worked at the intermediate school where they're going to be going last year. So that's where I was last year, and I'd worked there a couple of times on and off when we've moved and between babies and all of that. So, I know a lot about the school, so I was able to answer a lot of the questions that they had, and I didn't know some of the answers, but I definitely have people that I can ask, so that was great. And we're probably going to do that group for about 6 weeks, maybe up until Thanksgiving. We'll see how it goes. And then after that, I had an SST meeting for another student. Again, not on my services yet, but maybe eventually. Today, Friday, this morning, I spent some time planning for my kindergarten lesson. I had recess duty, and then I did back-to-back kindergarten lessons. So we were talking about appropriate choices given strong emotion. So when you have a big feeling, what do you do? What do you do with it? What is the appropriate choice? And I used my lesson from the self-regulation train theme unit. So it's all about the feelings train, and I really love this activity because it's an interactive story. So the students listen to part of the story and then they're presented with 2 choices and they pick what they want the feelings train to do. And some of them are kind of like rascally, like picking the wrong answer. So it was great. I got to show them like what would happen if you made that choice, and then we were able to review what would happen if they made the better choice. And then we did some more practice where they got to move around instead of just sitting listening to the story. We call it Ring Around the Tracks. So I put 2 conductor hats on the floor, and the students just walk around the circle, and when I say stop, whoever is on the first conductor hat makes a prediction about what might happen if someone makes that choice, and then the person on the conductor hat with the number 2 names a better choice. So it's just an easy way to get some practice and let them move at the same time. But it went really well. The students seem to get it, so that's always a goal. Today, during lunch, I was supposed to have lunch with my 1st grade family changes group, but I ended up having to cancel it because there was some issues going on in 6th grade. So I ended up having a bunch of 6th grade girls come in for about an hour and a half, just kind of like hash out and process some stuff that's going on in the friend group. It ended up being a really positive outcome. Everybody was able to kind of share how they'd been feeling and respond to one another in a positive way. And before they left, they agreed that they wanted to make a pact about how they were going to treat each other. So I didn't even have to suggest that. It was great. They did awesome. And then at the end of the day, I had 2 back-to-back individual sessions. So one of the students I'm working on with some anger management strategies. So I wanted to send the student home with an anger log to fill out between now and when we come back from fall break, so we can start to look for some patterns. So in our first session, we talked about anger triggers. We did like a little checklist to find things that are triggering the student's anger. So now I'm going to have the student record instances, day, time, what happened, scale the anger, how big it was, and then the student's response. So then we're going to look through that when we come back from fall break. And that's it. That was my week. I feel like it didn't sound like a lot, but it really was. Between all of those things, I was just popping in and out of classrooms, consulting, all that kind of stuff, writing behavior plans, whatever. But I did have a small win that I wanted to share. I had a teacher say, totally unprompted, that there was a situation in the class with one of the students, and she said, "But we followed the behavior plan and it worked." New favorite teacher. You guys know how wonderful it is to hear that and to have somebody follow the behavior plan, so that was great. If you have any questions about any of the stuff I did this week, or you want more information about something, just comment below and I will be happy to fill you in. I hope that you guys had a great week. I will be on fall break next week. I am very much looking forward to it, but I'm going to catch up on all of my unanswered emails and Facebook messages and Instagram messages, so I can't wait to connect with you guys later this week. Hope you have a great weekend.